So the very first thing we're going to start talking about is what is Ableton Live. The way I like to say it, Live's a digital audio workstation, DAW for short. And then the nice thing about Live that's different from other DAWs is it's non-linear. So you'll see what I mean by that as we dig in a little further. But because it's non-linear and it was originally created for DJs, and you might be surprised at how similar what DJs do are to worship leaders, right? We stand in front of a crowd of people and try to engage them. Obviously, DJs are trying to engage them to another means than what we're trying to engage them to. But because of some of the freedom that DJs need and the flexibility they need, worship leaders need that as well. So Ableton works really, really well for that. What can Live do? I've got a huge list. Run clicks, loops, multi-tracks, host key sounds, running lights, lyrics, videos, more efficient choir rehearsals. Most of you maybe have never thought of Ableton Live in the light of a choir. But even if you got the sweet choir robes on, you can still rock live, and it'll be very helpful for you. Creating your own arrangements and recording demos. This to me is huge. A lot of you may feel like you're in a smaller church and you're handicapped by the ability of your musicians, and you think, man, I got to buy this track, and it's just kind of is what it is. Well, Live allows you to customize a track, make it exactly what you need it to be, and we'll talk about that. And I think it's a great tool to, it's really a great tool to create something that's going to serve your church and your community the best possible way. So I really fully believe in this, not just because of the software, but I believe in it because if we use it and use it properly, it can really equip worship ministries and really equip worship leaders doing the work they're called to do. Another question I get a lot is, which is better? Pro Tools, Ableton, Reason, Logic. I've sat in classes before or taught classes before where people said, yeah, well, you know, it can't do this, or Logic does this better, or Reason does this. Well, when people ask me which one's better, a lot of times it's terribly cheesy, and I know, and I apologize, but I say, well, what's better, a Harley or a Ford? And they kind of look at me dumbfounded, and it says, well, both can get you from point A to point B, but if you got a family of 4, you're not going to buy a Harley to get them there, right? So they kind of serve the same purpose, but they have different ways of getting there. So that's kind of the same thing with Ableton Live. Ableton can do a lot of stuff that other software can do, but it can do stuff that other software can't. So if you walk away tonight, I hope you walk away at least knowing that there's certain things that Live can do, that only Live can do, that are really great. So let's start with a few misconceptions that I hear very frequently with Live. And I'm going to do my best to be mythbusters for a second and bust some of these myths. So here's the 3 I hear often. It costs too much, right? It takes too much time, and it's too difficult. So this is my goal in our first little segment, What is Ableton Live, to bust some of these myths. So the first one, costs too much. Here's the great thing about Live, and I mentioned this earlier. There's 3 versions of Live, so there's not just one version. There's 3 versions, and each of those versions carries with it a price tag that matches the features that it offers. So the first one is Ableton Live Intro. It's only $100, and that's a great way to just get started. And even before that, let me backtrack. Even before that, if you download the demo, it's fully functioning for 30 days. You can go in, dig in, you can save, you can export audio. There's no limitations for 30 days, so that's a great way to get started. So start with that for your 30 days. Go to Intro. Our next version is Live 9 Standard, $4.99. Live 9 Suite, $7.99. And for the sake of time, we won't dig into each of those, but each of those kind of provides more features than the previous version. And the great thing, too, is that price changes whether you do a download or a box version. And people always ask me, which version is right for me? Just start with Intro. And the great thing is when you upgrade, you don't lose that $100 that you put in Intro, right? So we buy Intro for $99. When we go to get Standard, instead of paying $4.99, we now pay $3.99. So if you start with Intro, you're not going to lose money if you upgrade and feel the need to upgrade. The other thing that kind of goes along with that is people say, well, we don't have the money to buy Macs, or our IT department won't allow us to buy Macs at church. And a lot of people think it's not Mac, or it's only for Mac and it's not for PC. It's actually cross-platform. So if you buy it and you have a PC and then you eventually get saved and come to the right side and get a Mac, then you could still use that same license and take it with you, which is great. The 2 other, let's continue busting some myths here. The 2 other myths that we often have: takes too much time and it's too difficult. So the first thing, takes too much time. I think all of us probably have a free 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. And so let's use those 3 to 5 minutes now, and let's see if we can use Ableton Live. So This is Ableton Live if you've never seen it before. The main thing you need to know, which is like basic 101, is there's two sides to Ableton Live. Okay, we have session view, which is this view. I always like to tell people this is our vertical view because our tracks go top to bottom, so you can kind of see that. Also looks like a musical Excel spreadsheet. I've never thought of creativity in the lines of an Excel spreadsheet, so don't look at that and go, what in the world is that? But there's some really cool stuff that can happen here. Our other view is arrangement view, and you can see they're different because arrangement view is our horizontal view. Our tracks go left to right. But we're going to start in session view to start off with. So if all of us agree we have 3 minutes, a free 3 minutes, then we can build our set and prove it doesn't take too long. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a 5-song set list that most of us probably would do on Sunday morning and get it set up to where you can play to a click. So I'm going to go into these things here. These are called scenes. These are our rows in session view. And I'm going to right-click and hit rename. And when I do this, it allows me to enter a time signature and a BPM to each of those scenes. So I can treat my scenes basically as either sections of a song, or in this case, songs in a set list. So I'm going to go to this first one, type 120 BPM, 4/4. And then when I hit enter, you'll see that this triangle, it turns from being kind of that gray color to being orange. That is our scene launch button. That means when I do that, that means I entered our info correctly. So I'm just going to go in and plug in a few more tempos and time signatures. We'll do 135. This is like a club church. We're just playing club tunes now, it looks like. 85. Oh, we did 85. Let's get into Hillsong territory here. 2/4. And let's do one more. 90. All right. So these are my 5 songs. All right. The other thing I'm going to do is create a track here and name it Songs Track. And I'm just going to plug in the title of my 5 songs. Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to get really creative here, and we're going to have song 1, song 2, song 3, song 4, and finally song 5. Now, I'm going to turn on my metronome here up in the left-hand corner of my screen. I can adjust the volume with this preview Q volume knob if I wanted. I could turn that up or down. And then I'm just going to click this. Okay. Could press spacebar to go to my next song. You'll see it's not only just changing my tempo, it's changing my time signature here. We'll go to our other songs. Right? Okay. That took less than 3 minutes. I wasn't counting, but let's pretend for the sake of all of us, it was 3 minutes. What's really cool about this, maybe this shows a little bit of my character, and it's probably not a good thing. There was a church I was playing at before. I went on staff with the church I'm at now, and I walked in on Sunday morning. I opened up Planning Center, and I said, okay, what songs are we doing? And then I figured out our tempos, I plugged them in, and I built my Ableton set for that service in less than 5 minutes. And the great thing is it worked perfectly. So I waited till the day of to do that, but it worked perfectly. So if you've got, if you have 3 minutes, then you'll be able to do this, and it works great. Now here's the other thing I hear, the other myth, is it's too difficult. Does anyone have anyone in their church that can't press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a keyboard? If you have a drummer, you can raise your hand because we know how drummers are. But that aside, let's say they're a really good drummer, so they can press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They just can't do it while playing in time. Well, they can't play in time anyway. But okay, so if we go up here to the upper right-hand corner and we press key, then that gives us the ability to assign any key on our keyboard to certain things in Live. So anything that's orange right here can be assigned to a key on our keyboard. So watch this. I'm going to click my first scene, press 1, arrow down, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to click key again to get back out of it. And let's say, hey, let's go to song 4. Your drummer presses 4, your keyboard player presses 4. Okay, we press spacebar to stop it. Let's press 2. Press spacebar to stop it. 4, 5, right? And it's that simple. So it doesn't cost too much money. There's a lot of options that we have available to us. Doesn't take too much time. We can do it in 3 to 5 minutes. And finally, it's not too difficult to understand Live. If you can press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a keyboard and you have 3 minutes, then you can use it. So that is answering the loaded question, what is Ableton Live?